Hey guys, I'm Dr. Josh Jagoda. Today I'm going to show you how you can heal your low back pain, your disc herniation or sciatica, or some sort of disc bulge naturally without going underneath the knife. Now, a lot of people, as soon as they get a disc bulge or the diagnosis of a disc herniation, the first thing they do is start freaking out. And I want to let you know right now, I've treated hundreds, if not thousands of people successfully with this type of condition. And so the first phase is to really help you guys get out of pain and start reducing the strain and inflammation that occurs on the back. But first, I'm going to teach you a little bit about the low back. So when we're talking about the lower back, it depends on where you're having that herniation that you might feel different symptoms. So a lot of times people will feel the low back, maybe the L5-S1 nerve root where it's coming down into the back. It'll go all the way down into the leg, down to the calf, maybe the heel or the side of the leg. Also, if you're depending on the area, it could be L4, it could be around the side of the hip. Even certain areas in the upper thoracic can mimic groin pain that is not getting better. So you may have some pain that radiates around the hip or come down to the thigh. But in either case, when you're doing this, you're really talking about a disc that is compressing the nerve root, okay? So when this disc is actually coming up and compressing the nerve root here, what we end up doing is we end up flexing the spine, we end up trying to really help our body, but the muscles that attach back here start going into spasm. And when we start to stretch, we try to elongate that. But in actuality, a lot of times what happens is that patients, including myself, including other people, start to stretch these muscles, and that is a big problem. So the first thing you need to start realizing is that the mechanism in which you're in pain is for a reason. And if you go ahead and stretch and do all these crazy little exercises, you're going to end up hurting your back pain more. So I'm going to show you on this quick little model real quickly. And I'll come a little closer to the camera. Right? So what happens is as we bend our spine, we go this way, right? We start to round our spine. And what this can do is put excessive compression, just like this, onto the spine, right? And if we end up flexing forward so much, what we may do is start to flex this, and you may see this start to pop out. When this hits into that nerve is when you may start getting those types of symptoms down into that leg. So just so you know, again, what we want to do is avoid this. So I'm going to show you a few exercises that you should really consider not doing at all. Yes, you might have gotten a sheet from your physical therapist or your chiropractor to do these stretches, but the truth is that is very good general low back exercises. They're not specific towards this type of condition that you're probably having. So the first thing we need to avoid is flexion. Doing stuff like this and rounding our spine and doing stuff like that. That would also look like this, right? Stop trying to stretch out your low back muscles because you're actually compressing it further. Another exercise that you'll notice is this, where we bring our knee to our chest, maybe our other knee to our chest, or maybe even both. And sometimes even doing stuff like this may cause you some problems. So those are the first three things you need to also avoid. In addition, yeah, you may have low back pain, but you're trying to strengthen your core. Don't keep doing sit-ups at this point in time. And make sure you don't do this when you get out of bed. Okay? Because now you're starting to round the spine, you're starting to really irritate it, and you're going into the actual nerve, and you're pushing that disc further back into the nerve. So, now that you know what not to do, let's focus on a few things that you can do. Now, first thing is you may want to find ways to naturally decompress your body, right, and your spine. The first thing you can do is grab a pull-up bar and just gently hold from that pull-up bar. That's just something, basically, if you don't have a pull-up bar, you may be able to grab the edge or the ledge of the molding over the door. If not, you can even hold on to some sort of door frame or just the door itself from the side. Maybe something like this if your hands are up here and you can kind of just let your hips drop. I would highly recommend that you use some sort of pull-up bar. Now, another exercise that you can do, I've showed it in past videos, is you can lay down onto your back just like this. If your legs are pulled up, and you could actually have something underneath. So if we're kind of give me a quick little example here, you can place your arms up and you could just push down onto your back. And that's going to help decompress your back as well. So you have two options. You have a laying down option, and you also have a standing option. Either way, they're both designed to help create more space in between, because remember what's happening here is we are compressing this like this, and what we're going to be doing is elongating and kind of taking that pressure off of that disc. Okay, so now that we have a way to not injure it, we have a way to help decompress it, we also not need to find out what is a preference for you, right? So some disc patients and disc herniations, you might find that your pelvic is up high and you're like kind of leaning a little bit like this way and you're kind of looking like this in the mirror. What you can do, first thing, is to find out which direction you're laying. Are you going this way? Are you going that way? Which position are you going to? You can take a photo of yourself. You can have somebody take a photo of yourself. You can take off your shirt and see if you can see the line going up and down. And you can also just take a look through a mirror if you want, just to see which position you are. What we want to do is to try and centralize that disc, right? What that means is that if it's compressing and going backwards, like this one, in this case is going to my right, if it's going to the right, what we want to do is actually potentially bend into or away. It depends on the herniation that you may be having. And for you guys at home, we would have to test you or go through some instructions with you. But that being said, you can do it on your own, because what you can do is just test it for a few reps on each side and see which one it helps. So if it's on this side, right, what I may want to do is place my arm and hand just like this up against the wall. Because I'm leaning this way, what I'm trying to do is force my body back into it. So this is a side bend, okay? Sometimes actually leaning open will open it up as well. So you may have to find out which one is best. Like I said, try a few reps on each side, see which one makes it feel better, and then from there, only from there, don't skip a step, okay? Only from there, then you will decide which one is going to be good for you. When you do this exercise, I want you guys to do this for at least 10 reps at a time. Repeat 2 to 3 sets. Do this multiple times throughout the day. So you're going to place your arms just like here. Your feet are going to go somewhat close to each other, maybe a little bit away, and you're going to bend in. A lot of people will just kind of like hip in really fast. Just take your time and come in. Arm is up against here at first, right? So this way there's very little movement. As you get stronger, you can maybe put your arm up here, and you can have more of that side bending going into it. Just like that. So now that you've localized that type of disc, and maybe you're standing a little bit from here, now you're shifted up a little bit more, now we can go into some extensions. And extensions are going to be best done on the floor. So what we can do is start onto our ground, our feet will be pointing. A lot of people just push up like this. Okay, what I want you to do is point your feet, maybe push them together a little bit, so this way you have some stability in your thighs, and you're going to squeeze your butt together and try to relax your back. From here, you push yourself up. A lot of people make the big mistake. Here's the big mistake. This. They're extending through the arms, and they're hinging from the spine here. What I want you guys to do is just extend, try to relax the back. If this is all you can go, that is fine. There's no point in trying to go further and further and further and hurt yourself, okay? So just start from here, go all the way up. If that's too much, maybe you just want to sit into what we call TV watching position. You may want to hold this for 5 seconds, maybe 10 seconds, and then you could slowly let yourself down. The goal would be to get here and be able to hold that in a comfortable position for about a minute. You could even do it like this if you like. But these extensions are really going to dramatically help with the disc pain, and it's going to really reverse the disc compression. So you want to also complete this for a minimum of 20 repetitions at a time. When you get out of this position, a lot of people will go from here to here. That's not what I want. From extreme extension to flexion. When you're done with this rep, come back down, go onto your side, curl, relax. Keep your spine straight, and then push yourself up. It's a big mistake, and people end up undoing a lot of the good things that they just did with this extension work. So, we also know that a lot of patients and a lot of people cannot get on the floor during the middle of the day. Maybe you work at an office, maybe you don't have a clean surface on the floor, maybe you're at a gym. I don't know where you're at, but what I can tell you is if you can't do that at the floor, you can do the standing up. So what you're going to do is you're going to place your hands right behind your hips here, just like this. And when we do this, what we're going to do is we're going to stand and we're going to gently extend back. So here's a big mistake a lot of people do. They'll extend here versus here. Now, can you see the difference? Watch it one more time. This versus this. The major difference in the first one is I was extending from this area, okay? I was arching back like this, whereas the first one, I was pushing my belt buckle forward with my hips. So it's actually moving through the hips first, not through the spine. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to move through the hips first. So take your arm and your hand here and push your pelvis forward. And then come back. And you can do that repping it out as well. You can place your hands like this. If you have enough flexibility in the shoulders, you can do this as well. But I want the movement to come through the hips and not through the low back, okay? Through the hips, not through the low back. Don't be like the first thing. Do the second one, okay? Because you're standing up and there's gravity involved, you may have to go for a lesser repetition, or you may have to go to a lesser range of motion. And that's what I would recommend at first. Definitely go for a lesser range of motion at first, because it is having gravity against you because you have that compression. So whereas on the floor, you might be able to get more range of motion. Standing, you definitely don't want that. So those are 3 of the steps that I would highly recommend that you guys do. If you have a disc herniation or a disc bulge, those are the few things that I would start doing right away to help reduce your pain, because you can actually get back to all your health activities, your deadlifting, your squatting. You just have to do it in the right order and at the right time. And at the same time, most people try to jump back into stretching or exercises or the mechanisms that hurt them in the first place, trying and thinking that that's going to help them. But in this case of low back pain, disc herniation, disc bulges, and sciatica, or radiating pain down the thigh, this is going to be a better option for you guys to get out of pain first. So if you guys have any questions or comments, leave them down below, and maybe we can work together. Maybe I can help you in the future. But if you have any questions, comment below, let me know, and I'd be happy to work with you.